What would happen if the moon suddenly disappeared from the sky? Would we even notice right away? And how bad would things really get? The short answer is yes, we'd notice. The long answer is that it would be an absolute catastrophe that would fundamentally change life on Earth forever. But start with what would happen in those first few moments when our faithful companion simply vanished. If you were standing on a beach at night when the moon disappeared, you'd immediately notice the sky had gone dark. That gentle silver glow that's been lighting up our nights for billions of years would simply be gone. But that's just the beginning. The real chaos would start with the oceans. Right now, as you're watching this video, the moon is pulling on every drop of water on Earth with its gravitational force. It's what creates our tides, causing the oceans to rise and fall in a rhythm that's remained steady for millions of years. Without the moon, our tides would shrink to about 1/3 of their current size. That might not sound like much, but it would trigger the collapse of entire ecosystems. Think about this for a moment. Almost 3/4 of the world's population lives within 31 miles of the ocean. Billions of people depend on coastal ecosystems for their food supply. Crabs, mussels, starfish, and countless other creatures have evolved over millions of years to rely on the constant churning of tidal movements. These tides don't just move water around. They stir up nutrients from the ocean floor and create the perfect conditions for marine life to thrive. Without proper tides, these intertidal zones would essentially die. The animals that live there would either perish or be forced to adapt rapidly, which most wouldn't be able to do. We're talking about a domino effect that would devastate the food chain from the bottom up. Coastal communities that have relied on these ecosystems for thousands of years would face starvation. But the moon's disappearance wouldn't just affect the oceans. Every predator that hunts at night would suddenly find themselves in complete darkness. For millions of years, nocturnal hunters have relied on that perfect balance between darkness and just enough moonlight to spot their prey. Remove the moon, and you've just given every prey animal on the planet a massive advantage. Imagine being a lion on the African savanna, perfectly adapted to hunt under the soft glow of moonlight. Suddenly, the night becomes pitch black. Your prey can still hear and smell you coming, but now you can't see them at all. The hunting success rate would plummet, and many predatory species would face extinction simply because they couldn't find enough food to survive. This shift would cause prey populations to explode in some areas, leading to overgrazing and habitat destruction. Ecosystems that have maintained a delicate balance for millennia would be thrown into chaos. Some species would thrive, while others disappeared entirely, creating a completely different planet than the one we know today. However, the most terrifying consequence wouldn't be immediate. It would unfold over thousands of years, and it involves something that keeps our entire planet stable. Right now, Earth tilts at about 23.5 degrees relative to our orbit around the Sunday. This tilt is what gives us our seasons, and it's what makes most of our planet habitable. The moon acts like a cosmic anchor, keeping that tilt steady and predictable. Without it, Earth's axis would begin to wobble wildly and unpredictably. We're not talking about the gentle 26,000-year cycle we experience now. We're talking about chaos that would make our planet's climate completely unstable. Human civilization has developed during a period of remarkable climate stability. Remove the moon, and that stability disappears forever. Picture this. Sometimes the North Pole would find itself baking under constant sunlight for years at a time, while the equator froze solid. Other times, our planet would tip so far over that it would essentially lie on its side in relation to the Sunday. The places we think of as tropical paradises could become frozen wastelands, while the Arctic could turn into a scorching desert. These aren't gradual changes we're talking about. The wobbling would be erratic and unpredictable. Ice ages could hit different parts of the world every few thousand years instead of the predictable cycles we've grown accustomed to. The weather patterns that allowed human civilization to flourish would become a thing of the past. But here's something most people don't realize about our relationship with the moon. It's been slowing down our planet's rotation for billions of years. When Earth first formed, a single day lasted only about 4 hours. The moon's gravitational pull has been acting like a cosmic brake, gradually stretching our days to the 24 hours we know today. If the moon had disappeared billions of years ago, we'd still be spinning much faster than we do now. Days would be short, winds would be incredibly violent, and the weather would be far too chaotic for complex life to develop. In a way, the moon didn't just make our current climate possible. It made our entire existence possible. There's one more consequence that perfectly illustrates just how dependent life on Earth has become on the moon's presence. Every year, something extraordinary happens on the Great Barrier Reef. Over 100 species of coral simultaneously release their eggs and sperm into the water, in what scientists call the largest reproduction event on Earth. This isn't random timing. These corals have evolved special proteins that can detect moonlight and use it to coordinate this massive spawning event. The timing is so precise that researchers can set their clocks by when it happens. It's triggered by the specific period of darkness that occurs between sunset and moonrise after a full moon. Without the moon, this incredible synchronized reproduction would simply stop happening. The corals wouldn't know when to spawn, fertilization rates would plummet, and one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on our planet would begin to collapse. This is just one example of how deeply lunar cycles have become woven into the fabric of life on Earth. Countless other species depend on the moon's phases for migration, feeding, and reproduction. Sea turtles use moonlight to find their way to nesting beaches. Certain fish species time their spawning to lunar cycles. Even some plants have evolved to release their pollen based on moonlight levels. Remove the moon, and you're not just changing the tides or the length of our days. You're pulling apart millions of years of evolutionary adaptation. You're breaking the cosmic clock that life on Earth has been using since complex organisms first appeared. The moon's disappearance wouldn't just be a catastrophe for our planet's ecosystems. It would represent the end of Earth as we know it, transforming our world into something alien and hostile to the life that calls it home. So there you have it, Marcus. The moon's sudden disappearance wouldn't just leave us with darker nights and smaller waves. It would fundamentally unravel the intricate web of life that has taken billions of years to develop on our planet. From the immediate collapse of coastal ecosystems to the long-term chaos of an unstable climate, losing our lunar companion would trigger a cascade of catastrophic changes that would make Earth nearly unrecognizable. The tides that feed billions of people would weaken, the predators that maintain ecological balance would struggle to hunt, and the stable seasons that allowed human civilization to flourish would become a thing of the past. Perhaps most remarkably, we'd lose something that most of us never even think about: the cosmic timekeeper that has been guiding life on Earth for millions of years. Every spawning coral, every migrating bird, every creature that has evolved to dance to the rhythm of lunar cycles would suddenly find themselves lost in a world without their celestial guide. The next time you look up at the moon, remember that you're not just seeing a beautiful sight in the night sky. You're looking at the reason our planet can support the incredible diversity of life we see today. You're seeing the anchor that keeps our world stable, predictable, and habitable. It's a reminder that sometimes the most important things in our lives are the ones we take for granted. Our moon may seem like a distant, unchanging presence, but it's actually one of the most active participants in making Earth the remarkable place we call home.